welcome to the kitchen. I'm Bryony.
And I'm Tracy. So today we are making the most beautiful... Oh, you're not supposed to see that one yet? Oh, we'll show you what it looks like at the end. We are making the most beautiful rhubarb... Yeah, you're a bit taller than me. You can reach a bit further. Rhubarb dark chocolate pecan cake. Now, this was a cake that I found in a cookbook, so I'm not sort of taking...
Credit.
Praise where praise is due. So it's a little cookbook called Ostro, and it's by a girl. I think she's Melbourne, but she's definitely not WA anyway. Australian cook Julia Butticelli Nishimura. Amazing name, and but not very easy to pronounce. But her food and cooking is awesome. So if you haven't had a look at the Ostro cookbook, and she's on Instagram as well as Julia Ostro, which is much easier to say, isn't it? So I think I'm just going to call her Julia Ostro. But she's beautiful Mediterranean really style cooking, and I really wanted to do this cake because when I first made it and put it up on Instagram, everyone was going, "Oh, what is that cake? What is that cake?" Rhubarb is such a gorgeous fruit.
You have the book, is that right?
I actually got the book from the library.
Oh, okay, right. And because I know that you started doing it because you got in your veggie box, you got the rhubarb.
Yes, exactly.
So did you go, oh,
exactly.
I remember seeing a rhubarb cake
It was
recipe.
serendipity that
I
so
had
rhubarb in the fridge.
That
That's right. And I had the Ostro book out of the library, and I was flicking through it going, I want to make that, and that. And there was this rhubarb cake. So what I did was that I actually changed it, though, because Julia had walnuts in hers, but I actually had in my freezer. I know this probably doesn't mean much to very many people, but when we went to Byron Bay, we got some beautiful pecans. Both start with P, both are nuts. Pecans from Byron Bay, and I brought them home with me and I put them in the freezer. So I had pecans, but I had no walnuts. And I went, hang on a minute, because Belinda Jeffrey helped her with the book. And of course, we went to Belinda Jeffrey's cooking school, cooking class, and it was all beautifully tied in together. And Belinda and I chatted about it, and she was thrilled that we used the pecans. So it was a very happy cake. So I wanted to share it with everyone. Before we make the cake,
it's a very easy, quick cake. So
padding
tell
it out
you a
little
story about every part of every ingredient.
Yeah, I've got a lot to say about white sugar.
Yeah.
I'm going to, and Julia's cake was long and flat like that, so of course I had to do it slightly differently as well. I can't just copy a recipe.
No,
I have to put my own little spin on it. So I have these lovely cake tins, no-name cake tins, from years ago. I've got 2 of them because we've been using them in the school for a bit, and don't know where I got them from, whatever, but they're absolutely brilliant, and they are non-stick, but you don't need it to be non-stick really, but it's a 20 centimetre round cake tin.
And so much smaller than your standard cake.
I really like the idea of having a smaller cake, don't you?
And then you got a bigger cake, so obviously, what's her name?
Julia's
Ostro was long and more slice-like.
Yes,
probably cutting it into fingers.
She had her rhurbarb laid out like this, and then cut it like that. But I thought, let's cut the rhubarb and put it into the little tin. So anyway, that's what I did. But you can do it how she does it if you get the book out. Anyway, piece of non-stick baking paper. Usually I don't actually do my magic trick with making this square piece of paper turn into a circle, but I will today, because if you've got you don't need it to be loose bottom.
So you can do it just in any cake tin?
You can.
But depending on the size, it's going to be thinner than higher.
You can do that in a 24 centimetre cake tin. It's just going to be that high, not that high. So anyway,
you could do it in a slice thing.
Yeah, you certainly can. So I'm going to make this quite large because this is one of those funny loose bottom cake tins which hasn't got there's no clip around it, so it's just like that. But if you tear that off, I don't know whether you saw me doing that, but there you go. There's a nice little circle. So that would be fantastic if I had a 28 centimetre cake tin, wouldn't it? But far too big for this. But I've made it really big because with this funny cake tin, the only tricky bit about it, it sounds like Christmas, doesn't it? Unwrapping presents. Oh, I've always wanted one of these. That's what you say at Christmas. Christmas
cake
is nearly
face.
here, isn't it? Just as I'm trying to squish this all together like that, see it's not in the middle, I'd just like to welcome anyone who's watching on Hillside Farmers Direct Facebook page, anyone who's watching on Castle Hill Facebook page, and where else have we got people watching us?
Matters of Taste website, All the Cooks Collective, Food
Membership.
TV.
Yeah, Food TV.
So now that you've been through all that, it doesn't even really have to be circle, does it? Why can't you just
that's
use
what
it
I'm
as a
saying.
square?
That's what I'm saying. But
Right.
and the one that we've got here, the one that we prepared earlier, has got a square underneath,
Oh,
and we
okay,
can
right.
take that out, and people can see that if they really
Right.
want to. There's my cake tin ready to go. I never, even if I don't have a non-stick cake tin, I won't actually grease the sides.
Yes.
Because it sort of helps the cake go up like that.
Yeah,
and
so
not
if
shrink
you
in.
put butter around the edge, the cake's actually going to come in,
Yeah.
and you're not going to get those straight sides,
No.
which, especially if you're going to ice it, you want straight sides, don't you? Not that we're icing
Well,
it. but-
yeah, I just like the look of it. I made, in fact, this week I also made I must put some pictures up on social media as well. I also made a beautiful Granny Smith apple and passion fruit shortbread. How is that, Mr. Cameraman?
Wow.
Yeah, he really liked that one. And that was in the same cake tin, and it looks stunning.
So I thought you were going to be doing healthier recipes. Isn't that what you said like 2
Yeah,
weeks
but
ago?
that was just because.
I know. I didn't get a biscuit. I don't need a biscuit.
No, it's like a short cake. You know my
Shortcake.
little
Shortcake.
you know
Oh,
my
I
little
thought you meant
if you're
shortbread.
on the Cooks Collective, if you're a member of the Cooks Collective, you can go and have a look at my little apple cakes. And it's
Ah,
a very
yes, those
similar
ones.
recipe but done in a muffin tin. And they're little shortbreads, so you sort of do half self-raising flour, half plain flour.
I remember those ones,
Raises
yeah.
a bit and it all seals itself and it's beautiful. So you can go and do that. You don't need to wait for the other recipe, which funnily enough I actually got from the Women's Weekly Best Recipes Cookbook.
Of
How many people have got that cookbook?
1980 or something.
Yeah. How many people have got that cookbook still in their shelves? But that's where the recipe came from that I did.
wow.
But I changed it a bit. But anyway.
Of course.
So into my bowl. Let's get the cake cracking. Hey, let's get the eggs cracking.
I can do
We'll
that.
talk about cracking. I have got white sugar. You can certainly use raw cast sugar. That's what I probably use
Raw
at
sugar,
home.
yeah.
Raw sugar. Yep. The lovely Tina weighed all this out. So we got white cast sugar. I should have said raw sugar, but that's absolutely fine. A little bit of white cast sugar never hurt anyone unless it's a lot of white cast sugar. So in here, I'm going to put the 2 eggs.
So we're, of course, our eggs from Charcoal Springs, which is in Manjimup. Is it Charlie and Colleen?
Yeah.
Charcoal.
Yeah.
And so they're pastured eggs. So the chickens live on the farm. They live in caravans,
It
and
looks
they
like
clean
a
up.
face.
They clean up after the cows. So they go from paddock to paddock. So it's regenerative farming, which is awesome. And the colour of these eggs is amazing. It does look.
It does
You
look
need
a
a
little bit
nose.
like a face, doesn't it? Yeah.
Well
do
said,
that.
Bri. Someone's been sensible.
There we go.
Oh, it's a koala.
It is.
Oh,
Anyway, these eggs are awesome, and you can get them through with our veggie boxes or individually, not the individual eggs. I'll have 2 eggs, please. Boxes.
That's not me. I wasn't being silly then, was I? That's brilliant. Love it.
So order them through us through the produce section on the website.
Yeah, we'd
They're
love to
amazing.
get you committed
And
to these
we
eggs.
because we get them like they're laid on the weekend. We get them on. Anthony
Oh,
picks
yeah.
them up on like that Wednesday.
Yeah, it's not
the
even
freshest eggs.
Yeah, like
So
even
when
during the week.
I
they're
actually
laid
peeled
on.
an egg for James this morning, a boiled egg, and there's hardly any air in that bottom
yeah.
bit because it is so fresh.
Yeah,
So the older your eggs are, the more of the air pocket at the bottom of that egg.
or the top, whichever way you're holding it up.
Yeah,
The roundy end, not the pointy end.
which I think is the bottom of the egg.
Well, Colleen said to me
Yeah.
that you have to have, when you have your eggs, you
Oh,
have the
yeah, she's
roundy bit down. The pointy bit down.
I see.
And the roundy bit at the
okay,
top.
because I always go the other way.
No, you mustn't put them in that way because the air sac is at the top of the egg there, you see. So if you put that, it's going to confuse everyone,
oh, well, there
isn't
you
it?
go. Yeah.
Yeah, so it has to be facing
I
down.
never, no, because I put them in my,
I'm going to carry on with the cake.
oh yeah, because we might run out of time. I put them in my fridge in the egg storage thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And
I've
always put
always-
them roundy.
Oh my God. I've been putting them wrong
Lucky she
forever.
listens to me sometimes.
I know.
So thank you, Colleen, for that. If
Wow.
you watch this, yeah, very,
So
very important.
we've got the eggs in. You've
Yeah.
got the oil, the Cobram Estate extra virgin olive oil. So good oil for us. And this is the light flavour. So you're not making a cake with an olive oil flavour.
It's just, yeah, it might be a bit overpowering,
Yeah,
mightn't
but
it,
this
the
is good
purple.
if you're going to have olive oil in your kitchen. We always have the classic and then the light. So we've been using a bit more of the light olive oil, even for Asian cooking, just for simplicity, that we've just got 2 oils and
Oh, look,
it's
at
healthier
home,
than
absolutely.
vegetable oils.
Now I'm onto this. I don't use vegetable oil at home at all. If
Even
it
for
calls for
mayonnaise.
vegetable oil, exactly, use the Cobram or a light flavoured olive oil, but that's nice Australian brand. So
Oh,
now
chop-
I've got,
oh, now
I
I'm
know,
behind.
now I've got this
Now you can
far.
chat. You can pause for me to do this.
Bry's going to cut the
Well,
peanuts, which didn't come from Byron
peanuts?
Bay. I think they.
Pecans.
Oh, why do I keep saying peanuts?
I don't know.
Because I am a bit peanuts.
Well,
Bit
Um,
nutty.
I wasn't going to say anything.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Cameraman. So have we got? Can we say hello to anyone who's watching?
Yes, there's Millie watching, and Sally, and Natalie,
Really silly.
and
Gang.
they're busy chatting away.
Oh, good.
Oh, okay.
Are you listening to us, girls, as well? Because
Going,
there's
what?
some gold coming
Waffle.
out here.
They're going
No,
all that
gold.
waffle going
Gold.
on.
So that's fine.
Done.
Yeah, I like a little bit of texture in my
A
nuts.
roughly chopped
it-
nut.
Yeah.
Millie asks, was it cream or milk that you
Thank
added?
you. It was milk. It was milk,
She's
and
just working so quick that
at home, I would be absolutely 110% using Bannister Downs milk. So if you haven't tried Bannister Downs milk, oh gosh, we're just like we're an advert for our WA produce,
that's
aren't
right.
we?
Absolutely.
So really, really good milk.
So we've got Southern Forest eggs. We've got Bannister Downs milk. We've got
And the
s-
rhubarb's in the
Southern
produce
Forest.
box.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the
Rhubarb. So it's like and where did the chocolate come from? Oops, lost it.
Belgium.
Oh, I lost a whole stalk.
That's
I
all right.
reckon we just clean that.
It's going to be baked as well. Clean floor. The
Yeah.
cameraman steam cleaned it. So
Um,
we're all right. We could eat our cake off the floor if we wanted to. It's so clean.
I'll probably skip on that, but you know.
Okay.
I'm
Let's
sure
sit on a chair.
if it fell on the floor,
We're
I'd
actually-
still probably eat it. So
We're actually quite excited because we're probably going to have a proper cup of tea. Well,
yeah,
that's
we
what
had
I've
lunch
decided.
and then we thought, oh, could do with a piece of cake, but pity it was I could cut
And we,
quicker.
we nearly cut the one that we cooked earlier, but we've been
We're gonna
very,
wait
very good
until
girls.
after this to be able to eat
Oh.
cake.
So I'm putting in the Calabo dark chocolate, and what a lovely sound that is.
So if you can't get hold of Calabo, something like
Sorry,
a
I'm just in
lint
the
chocolate,
moment.
and chop that up.
That's just
Are
in
we
the
putting
moment
this in?
then. Yeah, you can do. It doesn't matter.
So I've put aside like a quarter of the rhubarb.
No, earlier on, Brownie was going, look, don't they look like feet? So I said,
Chicken feet.
yeah, they do, but we could trap a chicken like under the board like that. Make the chicken go, oh, help, 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 like that. Does that look like it's a chicken trapped under the board? The cameraman's not
No.
even playing the game,
No,
is he?
of course
No.
not.
From the top.
All right.
Okay.
Flour,
In goes
self-raising flour.
And the magic pinch of salt, Murray River. In fact, we'll go to Murray River salt flakes into there. And Bri very sensibly, or did I write this on the recipe, chose to use a flat sieve. I think that's a brilliant
You wrote that
idea.
on the recipe.
Flat
so-
sieve.
Yeah, the flat sieve.
Flat.
Interesting. Whisk. Because
Whisk.
we're not aerating it.
Self-raising flour, and the eggs are going to be the raising agents.
Yeah.
But
So it's
I
just
find-
mixing,
I
not.
find not creaming a cake
But
so satisfying.
you could just use a spatula, couldn't you?
Yes.
There you go. Because then I got a spatula out to scrape it into the bowl.
Oh, I
so-
quite like this idea of the flat whisk.
Okay. Well, that's what you
Well-
wrote on the recipe, so that's what I did.
You definitely need a spoon, don't I?
Cue the
Cue
soup.
the spoon. Thank you. So the oven is on at 180. I even like this raw. Isn't it so pretty, isn't it? really works well. 180, and the cake is going to go in for an hour. So hence, this is the one that we made earlier so that we could show it to you. The little calibo is sticking to the sides. Of
Yeah, I had that too.
Did you?
Such an
Yeah.
easy cake, though, isn't it?
Yeah, how
even
beautiful
if
is
you're
that?
not a cake maker, and like, oh, I'm not very good at making cakes. How can you go wrong with that? It's just mix it.
Yeah, mix it together. Absolutely gorgeous. Rule of thumb with cakes is the thinner the cake, the hotter and the quicker it's going to cook. So if you think of that one's going to go in at 180, only on bake, so no fan force. If you have fan force, it's going to be too high.
And when you say the thinner the cake, you mean
Yes.
the density of the batter?
No.
Or the thickness?
I mean
of-
so think about,
Right.
excuse me, chicken. Think about a cake like a Swiss roll, how quick that cooks.
Yeah,
A Swiss roll,
yeah,
because
I
it's
thought you
very,
meant
very
the
thin.
thin,
Sorry,
but,
the thin, like this is a thick cake,
Yeah.
not the consistency.
but it is
but-
quite thick, density as well.
Yeah.
I was just taking up time with
Yeah.
it. but
Okay,
that's
the-
all right.
Fantastic. Yes.
Question.
Question.
Millie's asked, why would you need a round and a flat whisk?
Okay, good
Oh,
question.
brilliant
So,
question.
I've got it. So a flat whisk and a round whisk.
I'll put
So
this in the oven.
this is a balloon whisk that you probably all have for whisking, for aerating. Okay, so you're making cakes, and as if you don't have a KitchenAid or something, you'd be using this sort of a whisk to whisk your egg whites. I mean, you have a very tired arm doing that, wouldn't you? This one is a flat
You get
whisk.
a very
It's-
buff arm.
but
like
yeah,
this.
like we don't have one. Can you tell?
What's
We do
that?
have a.
It's really
you do-
good.
that
Yeah,
is
I do.
muscle.
Gee.
This is a flat whisk, which is for like say dressings or just mixing something. You know, even eggs. Like you're doing scrambled eggs. So anytime you maybe go and get a fork out of your drawer, so or a dressing like a.
Oh, thank you.
This one here. So if we're doing like emulsifying vinegar, oil, mustard to make a dressing, I would use this. Or a giant, lots of dressing, or as you said, the cake, we mix this one. So that's the difference. Aerating,
Aerating.
just combining.
Yep.
Scrambled eggs.
So you could
Does that
probably use
answer
a
the question?
fork instead of a flat whisk.
Yeah, I know.
But the flat whisk is much more efficient.
That's right. So if you are doing the dressing, this is
doing
going
this all
to
on
come
my
together
own.
a lot quicker than the fork, because just the yeah. So you can get them. I think this is the one from Kitchen Warehouse that we got. That's got the silicone there. That one.
Yeah,
That's your favourite
Analon one, so they won't make it anymore.
Oh.
I know, it's so sad.
Oh, look, that was quick. And
Did
we've
it,
got
did that without,
the base underneath.
yeah, I can do that. I just had to do one bit at a time.
Yeah.
It's Christmas!
Crunch, crunch, crunch.
So whenever you want to put a cake or take this bit away, always put the cake where you want it, or the tart
And
or
then
whatever,
push.
and then pull that out like that, as if you're, doing that. Taking a, yep, so that's that. You're going to wipe that bit off.
I
'cause
am
it's
wiping
really,
the bench.
upsetting me.
You're getting
Now,
a knife.
this, yes, I can get a knife. I don't know whether to use a serrated edge knife or a
Shouldn't
regular
really need one.
knife. Well,
Ooh.
sort of got a
'Cause you've
little
got
bit
that-
of a crunchy.
So that was Demerara.
Demerara sugar on the top,
Demerara.
but there again you can just use raw sugar if you want to. But Demerara is much more crystally, isn't it?
So that's how you've got
Crystally-ish.
this nice crusty
Yeah.
top.
So I think I might use because see it'll go through that nice crusty top nicely like that. We haven't got a plate to put this on, have we? But
That's all right. I'll
does
just
it really
leave
need a plate? It's quite a large piece. This one. We'll just
No, just pop it.
look at
next-
that with
next.
the melty chocolate in the middle.
How
Melty
much?
chocolate in the
look
middle.
at that.
Yum.
Yum.
So we're going to have to go now because we have to make a
I'll
cup of
just
tea.
put it next to it, and
Oh,
we'll.
I just want to eat it.
Yeah, I know.
Um,
Because I want to break a piece off
I
and
know.
have a try.
Like that.
Yeah. Oh,
So a little,
crusty bit.
yeah, a little serrated edge. Look, if you really want to, but I think I would advise against. If you really want to do this, a little bit of dusting on the top if you want to.
What would you serve
Okay,
it
but
with?
I
Is it
like
a
the-
cream, pouring cream.
You can definitely serve this as a sort of a dessert cake. You could serve it with custard. You could serve it with pouring cream. You could serve it with a scoop of ice cream, definitely warm from the oven. Otherwise, as a cold cake, it actually keeps really, really well. Except we ate ours very quickly, so I'm not quite sure how well it keeps. Because within a few days, it was gone.
Yeah.
And it's quite unusual. The rhubarb, I have to say that once because that's how I really want to say it, not rhubarb, rhubarb. The rhubarb is very tart and the chocolate is deep and the nuts are beautiful, nutty. And so it just goes really well together. So you could do something like, you could fold frozen raspberries through that with white chocolate if you wanted to, and almonds or something like that. So just think about the difference in texture, in flavour of the dark, sort of quite grown-up chocolate flavour, isn't it? And the sharpness of the rhubarb. And I quite like the pecans in there over walnuts. I think they're just a little bit sweeter.
Are they?
So that is just my little take on that. But I think it's a really lovely cake. How quick is that to make? We have a question.
Well, we don't. Natalie's just said it looks so good. She's going out to pick some rhubarb from her garden and make it.
Oh, lucky.
Natalie, that's wonderful. You should see my rhubarb in my garden. It is pathetic. I think I've got about 2 stalks that are about as big as my finger, and the leaves are about that big. It's absolutely pathetic. But it's because all I do is I look at it and I perhaps talk to it occasionally, but I don't feed it anything. I need to probably feed it and actually put some mulch and stuff around it because. But I was thinking about people growing rhubarb. Like, you have a rhubarb patch, and the rhubarb dies down in the sort of summertime, and then comes up in the springtime, or midwinter, springtime. But you can't sort of plant anything where the rhubarb is, because it's perennial. It just keeps coming back. So people have rhubarb patches in their garden. The rhubarb just sort of keeps coming up all over. Just fantastic. But then you can't grow anything else, can you? That's just the thing I was thinking
dilemma
about.
that is, yeah.
Millie's asked, is there anything special about freezing nuts?
Freezing nuts. So if you don't use them very often, like, when did you go to Byron? Last year sometime. So it keeps them fresher for longer. So we store all our nuts and seeds in the freezer. I have a nut freezer. And so no little bugs, and
So think
they
about
go rancid.
Exactly. Think about what's
I eat
in
more of
nuts.
this then?
Very high oil. So what does oil? What if you have nuts in the cupboard, and especially over summer, they can go rancid really, really quickly. So I would definitely. It's nice, isn't it? I would definitely hold them in the freezer, even if you buy them, like the 500-gram bags that we can buy nowadays, which is awesome. But you don't want to leave them in your pantry for 6 months and then go and cook with them. They won't taste nearly as nice.
And seeds do the same thing.
Yep.
I experienced that with.
oil.
I have a drawer at the bottom, which I forgot what was in the bottom drawer, and then I found a container of chia seeds that was moving.
You'd rather find $100
So I just
note,
threw the
wouldn't you?
entire container out
It was
because I didn't want.
moving because of bugs. Yeah.
Oh.
So you
Keep them in the
and
freezer.
Sometimes you keep your flour in the freezer as well, don't you?
Yes, so if you're not going through flour, like making sourdough like we do every week, keep it in the freezer and that'll get rid of bugs. I've also heard if you
It freezes them, doesn't it? These poor bugs.
freezes the bugs. It means they obviously can't get in there. But
Die.
I've got a drop freezer, so I can a big
Yeah.
freezer. I've also heard people put rice in the freezer. Anything like that you're not going to go through quickly and you're buying in bulk, it'll actually kill anything that's in there.
Yeah,
Because if
because
they've
you
come from
don't
another country,
Well, if they've come from a shop that has lots of open containers, sometimes they are weevil infested and you don't actually
And,
know until
it's just
4 weeks afterwards, and you
added
go into
protein.
your pantry and there's little moss flying around all over the place. Yes.
Another question.
No, Millie said, yes, I'm sick of throwing them away, nuts. I just didn't think of freezing them. These classes are amazing.
Oh, thanks. So is the cake.
So it's the
I'm going to
cake.
add some more while you're talking.
Yeah, so we're going to go and put the kettle on, but just before we do that, next week we have, I wanted to go healthy, and I did apologise about this cake in the newsletter that I put out last Friday to the Cooks Collective, so I did apologise for putting temptation in your way, but it has got fruit in the cake.
And dark chocolate's good for you too.
Yes, in moderation. So invite a few friends around to drop some slices off to the neighbours, or even sometimes what I do is I'll cut it up,
freeze
and put
that
it in.
too.
Yeah, put it in slices, freeze it in foil, put it in slices in the freezer, and then I found that whenever I want cake, when I haven't baked one, I can go straight to the freezer, take it out,
Well, I
and
was just thinking, like,
and it doesn't freeze solid, so you can eat it straight.
yeah, she does.
Freezer.
I caught her eating brownies straight from the freezer, and I was like, how can you even
They're
actually
a little
eat this?
bit chewy, but I
Um,
got through them.
But I'd like cut it into either quarters or halves and freeze it so that when somebody else does come round,
Oh,
you can
okay.
go, oh, look, I've been
look,
baking
yeah.
all morning, you know, like, well, half a cake. I baked a quarter of a cake for you.
Oh dear, I can see slivered almonds on the top of that
Can
as
you?
well. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely, absolutely glorious. So next week we are going to be going back to the slightly healthier side of cooking, and I wanted to make up a little recipe with using salmon, using fish, and I've done a. I've really, all I want to call it is fish, rice, peas and carrots. That's really what I want to call it, because that's what it is. But the fish is marinated in lemon juice and soy sauce. It's baked in the oven.
Very yummy.
Big pardon?
Very yummy.
Very yummy. I know the camera is a complete and utter hit. And we're doing sesame roasted carrots and little baby peas and rice and soft herbs over the top. It is a divine, very light, very delicious evening meal. So hopefully you'll be tuning in next Wednesday at 2 o'clock to watch Bryony and I make that. And rice. Did I say rice?
Yeah,
Yes, I did. And rice. So there we go. Enjoy making the cake. It's as quick as, you've just got to keep yourself occupied for an hour while it bakes. But if anyone's got time to pop round for a cup of tea, we've got a whole cake here. Thank you so much for watching.
See you then. Bye.
We will see you next week. Bye-bye.